Today marks a grim milestone. It's been exactly 6 months since Hamas attacked Israel, killing about 1,200 people, taking another 240 hostage. It was the deadliest single assault against Jews since the Holocaust. Israel's military response was swift and punishing, executing a bombing campaign that has killed over 30,000 Gazans, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The vast majority of them are innocent women and children. The situation in the Strip is now dire, with not enough food, housing, or medical care to meet the needs of a desperate population. Meanwhile, ceasefire negotiations continue to falter and both sides remain far apart. Hello, I'm Hjelmgaard, USA Today World Affairs Correspondent, and this is The Excerpt. Today is Sunday, April 7th, 2024. I recently traveled with senior video producer Megan Smith to the Holy Land in order to share some of the human stories that define this tragic conflict. In an entrenched war that could potentially last for many more months or even years, what both sides have in common is an immense human suffering from a collective trauma that they may never recover from.
For me, it's not what happened in Israel, it's what happened in the world. It's like the world forgot that there is a war here. We have 134 people over there. We don't know their situation.
Shlomi Berger is the father of one of them, 19-year-old hostage Agam. Agam was last seen on a Hamas Telegram video being led on October 7th to a car while still in her pajamas. Images show her bloodied face with her hands handcuffed behind her back. It was Agam's first day at Nahal Oz Army Base, a border surveillance unit less than a mile from Gaza. She had transferred there less than 24 hours earlier.
For me, every day is the 7th of October. It was a very difficult time. We had a big hope when after 50 days, women and children started to get out. We were very happy. Suddenly I got a phone call. On the other side, there was a young girl, and she said, "Hello, Shlomi. My name is also Agam Goldstein. I was with your daughter on the tunnels, and she's sending you happy birthday." That was a crazy call, okay? It was, for me, my best birthday, okay? And I thought, oh my God, I have a sign of life. And the days goes by, and we hope that she will come. But after a few days, Hamas broke the deal, and we get back to war.
A key sticking point in repeated failed attempts to craft a lasting Gaza ceasefire is the return of the remaining Israeli hostages.
Every day is it's not ending. I get to sleep, I don't know, about 1, 2, 3 p.m. when I'm tired. I fall down, okay? All the house, me, my wife, the kids, we don't have hours. And you get up usually early in the morning, and all day is about appointments, meetings with everyone we can, from the Prime Minister to the last minister on the War Cabinet, in the government, everyone that hold his hand and said, okay, I agree to the deal. That's what I'm doing all day.
Shlomi says that Agam is a typical teenager. She enjoys playing the violin, getting her nails done, and putting on makeup. He says the most difficult part of the whole ordeal for him is knowing how powerless he is to bring her home.
Very difficult time. I try not to listen to the media because there are much of the things we don't know if it's true or false, and it's like ups and downs all day. Try not to think what is happening to her, because when I think about it all day, I just get crazy. A father that can do nothing for his daughter, nothing.
Shlomi and his family are trying their best to resume a kind of normal life so that when Agam does come back, they can be there for her.
What happened to my wife? 3 weeks, she sat on the sofa in the corner, she threw the phone. I can't speak to her. If I sit on the corner, it's not good because we believe that everyone will come back. And we must be here strong for her to raise her up, that she could get back to her life. She's a young girl. All the life is ahead of her, in front of her, you know.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, normal life ground to a halt 6 months ago. Now, most Gazans have become internal refugees, facing a severe shortage of both medical care and food. 80% of the Strip's residents are now internally displaced, an unprecedented scale of tragedy.
I was so feeling a lot of psychological problem because, the condition is so dangerous here in Gaza. And I was thinking just about bombing us or targeted us while I was going to the hospital, or even targeted us while I am at the hospital. Because, in Gaza now, no place is safe for the Palestinians.
For Amal Nassar, an English teacher about to give birth, the situation was especially dire. She worried about her 7-year-old son Ahmad and her 6-year-old daughter Yara waiting for her at home. Since journalists aren't allowed into Gaza, we spoke with Amal by phone.
When I have to leave my home to go to the hospital, my 2 kids was crying because they know that I might go to the hospital without coming back to them. And I was also crying because I thought that I may go to the hospital and do not find my babies and my kids when I come back to my home.
6 months into the military offensive Israel is waging against Hamas in Gaza, the human toll in the seaside enclave is enormous, devastating, and expanding by the day. Humanitarian groups say more than 2 million people are threatened with famine. Satellite imagery shows that more than 30% of Gaza's buildings, entire neighborhoods once teeming with schools, mosques, coffee shops, sports fields, have been reduced to rubble. If Israel presses ahead with its apparent determination to launch a ground offensive to root out Hamas in Rafah, Gaza's southernmost city, the humanitarian catastrophe could escalate. Stories of new and expectant mothers seeking to care for and feed their children amid acute shortages of food, medicines, safe shelter, and hospital care are especially tragic. The UN estimates that about 50,000 pregnant women are living in Gaza, with more than 180 births taking place every day. Amal was one of the lucky ones.
I went there to the labor room. I could hear the sound of the tanks who coming. I thought that it was coming towards us, so I was so afraid. And I could hear the explosions around. And moreover, I could hear the sound of the planes above us. I was thinking that at any moment we may be targeted.
Amal was given no anesthesia or pain meds for either the birth itself or the surgical stitches she received afterwards. Even the bed was a luxury. 30 minutes after her daughter Mira was born, Amal was asked to leave to make room for another patient. Back at home, an 850 square foot structure which Amal now shares with more than a dozen others, there was no electricity and no water. Rain poured through a hole in the roof. The windows and doors had long ago been blown out from the force of nearby blasts. The building next door was recently reduced to a pile of rubble. None of it was how Amal hoped to be raising her new baby.
She She was suffering from a flu and cold during just her first week because of the very cold house that I lived in. And January is very cold here in Palestine. My husband does not, and he was working at a supermarket, and now there is nothing at the supermarket to sell. So now he is jobless. I was working as an English language teacher on the daily contract, and my contract is now stopped.
Amal's baby Mira will be 3 months old in a week. Since her birth, Amal has questioned her decision to even have a third child.
You can hear the rockets around us. You can hear the tanks, the heavy tanks on the streets around us in Nusayrat camp. I was so afraid. I was looking at my baby and said, did I make the right decision to have babies in such war, in this war?
One Israeli family, racked with pain, hoping their 19-year-old daughter survives at the hands of Hamas. One Gazan family, nursing a new baby girl, hoping for one day a chance at a normal life. Both sides suffering from wounds that will take generations to heal, if they do at all. Thanks to our senior producers Shannon Ray Green and Bradley Glansrock for their production assistance. Our executive producer is Laura Beatty. Let us know what you think of this episode by sending a note to podcasts@usatoday.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Kim Hjelmgaard. Taylor Wilson will be back tomorrow morning with another episode of The Excerpt.